Place your bets, everyone. Roll up for the casino, for the grandest stage of all, as we discuss the Double or Nothing pay-per-view from All Elite Wrestling. Why am I talking this way? Who knows, but welcome to the show, everybody. This is Bunkamania Wrestling. I am the giraffe, me, Jeremy Graves. Joining me to discuss AEW's latest pay-per-view offering, which, at the time of recording, took place, I want to say, just over 12 hours ago. I sort of lose track of time at this point, but we are currently live on Twitch and YouTube if you are there as well, so do leave some comments if you want to post your thoughts as we go along. But who are the two intrepid travelers, or the intrepid gamblers, perhaps, who are with me to discuss the Double or Nothing? Did they place their bets correctly? Are they now filthy rich? Have they lost all their earnings? Are they a new champion? All of these questions, or none, will be answered during this stream, because I am joined by Harriett Manga Girl.
Hello.
Sorry, I should have given you a better intro there. And I am also joined by Matty Blue.
Hello, this is Matty, and just to let you all know that this stream is not sponsored by Vicks Vapor Rub.
You either know or you don't, folks. You either know or you don't. That's the easy way to sum it up. But as mentioned, we are here to discuss Double or Nothing. If you are a first-time viewer and or listener, thank you very much for checking out the podcast. We hope you enjoy it. As mentioned, you can find us on Twitch at Bunkamania UK. You can also find us on YouTube as well, if that is where you are watching the video version. And we are available also in audio-only form via your podcast provider of choice. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the stream that these two fine people were involved with a day ago with the Decade Mystery and Bolton, as they discussed the WWE event from Saudi Arabia, which I want to say was called King and Queen of the Ring, but for some reason my brain is doubting myself.
Nope, you're right.
No, you're right.
Excellent.
It's just
good.
A very long name.
There are too many words, as it were, sometimes with these pay-per-views, but that is how it goes. Speaking of Decadane, he is in the chat, so he is going to get to hear firsthand what we thought of this pay-per-view. So, Double or Nothing 2024, it is in the books. It was from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, where AEW's very first event ever took place. This also acting as the 5-year anniversary show. What I think we should do to begin with, if we can, even I've not thought about this, so I'm going to literally throw this all on us at the same time. 4 words to describe this pay-per-view. 4 words. If you had to try and sum it up in 4 words. In fact, you know what? 5 words. 5-year anniversary. Let's make this a little bit easier. So I am going to say excellent show, flipping bloody insane.
I'm making my notes.
predictable outcomes, still very fun.
Okay.
Brilliant show. Insane, chaotic, and manic.
There you go. That gives you a little bit of a flavor if you have not seen it as to what happened. But this was not only a show full of excellent wrestling, some very interesting decisions, but also I think this is... It's weird, Matty, because we discussed the most recent AEW pay-per-view, which I want to say was Revolution, because that was Sting's retirement show.
We skipped Dynasty for some reason, but yeah, we the two of us together, we did Revolution, which was an incredible pay-per-view. Fantastic.
Indeed. And Dynasty was excellent as well. We just, like you said, never got a chance to actually discuss it. But the thing about this pay-per-view was, the way I look at it is, we're now on the road to Wembley. And that was very firmly established actually during this show, which we will actually get onto accordingly. And this is kind of the kickstart you need, because you have everything from last year up to World's End. That was kind of a very firm chapter. Then you have post World's End almost to this point, which is like another chapter, kind of the building blocks, as Swerve himself described it in the post-show media scrum. And now we're on the road to Wembley, as it were. And this is this was the kickstart to really put that into gear. And boy, oh boy, did they do that. And partly the reason why it's the road to Wembley, then I will let you get your words in, Matty, is because during the pre-show, just to kind of breeze over the pre-show, because of the best will in the world, nothing major occurred, but there was an announcement made that is going to have implications going forward in AEW. Because as well as Deonna Purrazzo cheating to defeat Thunder Rosa, and also the Acclaimed defeating the Cage of Agony, that being Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony, there was an announcement that the Owen Hart Cup will be returning. There will be both the men's and women's fields, but also the finals will be in Calgary on July the 10th, which, of course, hometown of Owen Hart. But the winners of both the men's and women's tournaments will each receive the respective World Championship match at All in London. So there is now actual potential championship implications when it comes to the Owen Hart Tournament, which I think is a great, great thing. And Matty, I will let you get your first words in edgeways, as it were, now that I will stop talking.
So my words were basically, it feels kind of like a response to what King of the Ring did, where they announced that the winners of the King of the Ring would face their respective brands' champion. But it actually gives the Owen Cup actual stakes because as much as I love the tournament, it has real sort of like New Japan Cup vibes about it, as much like the Continental Classic has G1 vibes about it.
Mm-hmm.
After the initial win, there just doesn't seem to be much of anything for the winners thereafter. I mean, to be fair, some of it is because they then promptly get injured, in the case of Adam Cole, or in the case of Ricky Starks, they just don't have anything for him, bizarrely. But yeah, this will pretty much significantly show who they would like to put a lot of their faith onto. If you have somebody like a Osprey in that cup, for instance, you know that is the actual rocket pack they're going to strap to him. And in fact, they didn't even need to give him a rocket. He's already got an entire fireworks factory up his bottom. So he's
already at the other end of the galaxy, some might say.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah. But I like that things matter now. And that's always good to see. Imagine whoever wins like the Owen Cup and the Owen Belt to hold both the Owen Belt and potentially the World Championship together in celebration. That's an incredible thing. Will it happen? Don't know. But it'd be nice to see, depending on who wins that. It'd also give a lot of the mid-card a chance to shine.
Agree completely. And Harriet, before I pass over to you, here's a little thought to sprinkle in on top of that so we can get your thoughts. I would love to see the Owen belts, as it were, for want of a better phrasing. I would love to see those almost become the equivalent of like WWE's Royal Rumble victory, except it's actually a physical possession element, or like the Money in the Bank, where they are carrying something, and then come the time of the championship match, they then hand that over to officially, not say cash in, but it's kind of almost the official recognition of we are now having this championship match. So partly so that the Owen belt has a bit more meaning to it, and it's kind of always just omnipresent. But to you, Harriet, what do you think of this news?
I mean, this is the first I've heard of it. I've literally just finished watching the pay-per-view, and yeah, so that's good news actually. But I kind of agree with Matty in regards to it does seem like a counter in regards to what happened at King and Queen of the Ring, but in a good way, because that means All In, we're going to have some good matches, I believe. I mean,
I think so. I think so.
I mean, that's one good way of doing that. But I like the idea of the belt. It's kind of like a ticket, I suppose, of like
exactly.
Yeah,
I would like to. I would like for the winners to retain the belt, because I believe they reproduce the belt each year, because it's a different year each time. So the winners of the belt keep that belt as, you know, as like a trophy. The actual trophy just changed. It's the same trophy each time, but each time they've been given a custom Owen Hart title belt. And that's had the year emblazoned on it. I believe. I might be wrong on that one, but I'm sure the first belt had 2022 on it. I will counter what you said there, Jeremy, because we've had this conversation before. The Continental Classic should be the Continental Crown you then trade in to get a world title. That, to me, is what the Continental Classic should be for. You know, and now they've stripped away a lot of the actual Triple Crown aspect of the Continental Crown. What we got instead is yet another mid-card title belt.
I'll tell you what we have now. We have the wrestling title, because Okada, contrary to what he was doing in the main event, don't do hardcore stuff, as it were.
No, he does not. No, he does not. But also, the other thing I like about the Continental title is the fact that they've got absolute stringent rules that everyone's adhered to so far in those title defenses. So that's cool. I like that there's an actual framing theme to that. But for me, Continental Classic, and I know they do want to do the Continental Classic again. The crown should be their version of the G1 briefcase. That I'm sticking to my guns on that one.
No, fair. I'm not disagreeing at all. Just we shall see what happens. But in terms of almost looking too far ahead now, and I say too far ahead, but much farther ahead. But Sean Michael Dunn over in the Twitch chat has said that they think Darby will win the tournament. Will he? We'll see after Anarchy in the Arena's main event if that's going to be even possible at this point. But we will come on to that accordingly.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. He has also made a very valid point in that he's been in a slump with AEW, and now MJF is back. It has brought him back all in. Sean at this point is literally representing the general public eye view, because the biggest ingredient that has been missing from AEW for all these months has been MJF. And it's like the moment he turned up, the energy in the room just escalated. Absolutely escalated.
I'll tell you what, let's hold that thought for a minute, because we'll sort of go chronologically through the show, as it were. And the best part about that story is we don't have to wait very long to talk about MJF, to be quite frank. So the show proper began with Will Osprey versus Roderick Strong for the international title. And getting my notes here, courtesy of F4W Online, as they put it, one hell of an opener. And he also said it almost ended horribly before it truly got. It almost ended horribly before it truly got going, as the bump that the Osprey took from the Kingdom outside narrowly avoided disaster. That's when he was on, I think it was Bennett's shoulders, and he kind of went over and almost landed like crown first on his face.
There was a few of those. There was a few of those. Also, draw your attention to Pac at one point during the triple title belts. But we'll talk about that later.
Indeed, but the crowd was so loudly behind Osprey, who is an absolute superstar. Credit to Roderick Strong, who once the Kingdom were gone, got to show off why he is also one of the best in the game. The story continues for Osprey and Callis as well, and they had like little touches going on during the match relating to that. But this match, so full disclosure, folks, our sort of good friend and acquaintance who's been on the podcast numerous times, Tom, was in Vegas for this show. And I sort of ended up watching this match unintentionally while I was trying to fall asleep, because I was just suddenly very awake. And I was getting messages from him, and he just went, "It's so loud in here." And that came across on TV very, very well. Yeah. But also, his reaction at the end of the match was, "Should I just go home now?" Because that's how good the match was.
No.
That's how good the match was. But this was a phenomenal opening match. Osprey has got his first AEW championship. He is the international champion. I loved this match. Harriet, how about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed. What a great way to start this off. Now, for someone who has not watched many pay-per-views in a while, so this is kind of my reintroduction back into AEW as per se, because I only hear through reviews and whatnot. But it was so good. I just loved it. Will Osprey is a really good wrestler as well. I haven't seen too much of Roderick Strong in AEW. I did when he was in WWE, but no, it was a very good match. I did like the telling throughout. One of the things I found, you mentioned Don Callis, was one of the things he said to him to bring up the Tiger Driver again.
Yeah.
Even though it was something that did not go well with Bryan Danielson, and it was a case of he was fighting not to do it, which I thought was very intriguing. It's like the poison in the ear sort of thing.
Yeah, like unlocking the dark side in Star Wars type thing.
Very much so. But no, this match was just so good. And yeah, what a great way to kick it off.
Yeah, for me, it was an incredible match and a very strong opener. I want to redub this pay-per-view Don Callis or Nothing, because Don was in this pay-per-view throughout. He was everywhere. He had his hands in pretty much 90% of the pay-per-view. But in a good way, in an absolutely good way. Various different aspects to him as well. The whole pep talk to Osprey, that thing's been going on for some time, ever since Osprey used the move on Bryan Danielson, who seemed to be pretty much all right during Anarchy in the Arena. But one of the best things people tend to overlook about Osprey is not only is he a very good worker, he's also very good in subtleties. And the whole G'ing himself up to do the move he doesn't want to do, he openly said that he wanted to ban that. The facial expressions, the body language, that stuff was absolutely second to none. There isn't actually an awful lot that I can add to this that Harriett hasn't already stated. Only that I was incredibly entertained throughout this. One thing I want to point out is that the establishments of what each of the titles represents in AEW is now like firmly cemented. Osprey in his media call has stated how much that the International Championship is the journeyman's title, where you can literally go and defend this title wherever you go. And Orange Cassidy and Pac pretty much proved that with their reigns. The TBS/TNT championships are your television championships, which established that you are the representative of the company on television, even though technically that's the world championship. Continental is I think that technically that is now the workman's title, where there is no interference, there is nothing. It's literally just absolute nothing but hardcore wrestling, but not without the
in a weird
part.
way. In a weird way, sorry to cut you off, because obviously rules set being different, it is the AEW equivalent almost of the ROH Pure title.
Yes, I was going to get into that. I would love to have it. If they ever do, just pull the trigger and just merge all of the titles, because Ring of Honor at this point is NXT. That no ifs nor buts. And it's too many belts. If I were to like merge the two together, like have the Continental and the Pure titles, like the one title, and have
the Continentally Pure title.
Yeah, and have the mixing of the two, because I think they would work incredibly well. Like you're only allowed 3 rope breaks, for instance. It is very much the work rate title, and I dig that there's different rules, stipulations, and themes running through each of these titles. As much as we complain and kick up a big fuss about how there's way too many belts, and don't get me started because Toni wants to introduce a mixed tag title as well now. In a company where on television you're not allowed to have man on woman violence, so how's that gonna work? I do
only
like
defended on YouTube.
I do like the fact that
no Twitter.
There you go.
I do like that each of the titles actually mean something in itself rather than just a prop. Now, yes, there's so many mid-card titles, but each of them actually mean something. Anyway, I'm now off my soapbox. Sorry, guys.
No,
I have one more
cool.
thing. I have one more thing I've remembered in the match. Wardlow tried to interfere, and I just loved his reaction.
Tried being the loosest word you could use.
Yes, in inverted commas, just like, I'll just try and attack Osprey. Ref caught him. It's like, if you don't go away, I'll take the title off you. And Wardlow's just like, well, I tried. Bye. Just walked off.
Yeah, that's kind of in Wardlow's role for a little bit now, is that he kind of just keeps failing the kingdom, if you will.
Oh, fair enough. See,
that's
don't
kind
know.
of the thing. If you know, you know. Literally.
They've redone the Pinnacle storyline with Wardlow. Only you took out MJF and you've put in Adam Cole, but it's a lot more subtle this time. Yes, go on, Jeremy. Tell us what happened.
So at this point, the segment, like all of the Osprey Roddy stuff had concluded. Then we suddenly heard, "You know, it's all about the boom." My throat did not like that. And he walked to the ring, kind of walking okay to say the least. And also, I do want to say that Tony Schiavone called him an ass for dragging out the entrance for so long, so that was good fun. But Adam Cole had a bit of a sort of State of the Union address, as it were. He made it clear he's still getting healed and whatnot, but then he started just kind of putting himself over, talking about the whole 2023 and the devil stuff, held up the mask, started to talk about that again. Then the lights went out, and a video played on the screen. And we're getting it's almost like a Resident Evil VR vibe. We're like walking down a long hallway, and then we go in a door, and we can hear some symphonic-y kind of music in the background. And then we go into a room where, quite frankly, it's an MJF shrine, in the politest way to put it. We see various items of ring gear. We see a torn up picture of him and Adam Cole, which two hands then kind of put together to imply you're effed, Adam, quite frankly, just to put it bluntly. Then it comes back into the arena. The lights are up. Everyone knows exactly what is about to happen. The first note of MJF's music hits. The place goes absolutely mental.
Yeah.
And the other thing to note as well, before Adam Cole was done speaking, we on TV could barely hear him through the amount of MJF chants as well.
Yeah.
Everyone knew what was about to happen.
They rose to the occasion.
And then MJF came out. He's now going through what I'm going to describe as his John Moxley phase of life, where he's coming out with like a jean jacket and a vest top, almost kind of trying to be Stone Cold. And then he walks down to the ring, he kicks Adam Cole in the balls, and then he goes and cuts a promo. But after you, Matty.
Right era, wrong person. He was emulating Triple H from 2002. The denim and leather.
Fair.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one.
Denim and leather with the logo at the back. That's Triple H.
Do you know what? I hadn't put two and two together on that, but that does make total sense now you said it.
Yeah. Also, me and Harriet at this point, when Harriet reached that part of the show, she started contacting me with voice notes and texts, and we started giving him like beautician tips because, yes, return tribute. That's exactly right, Dane. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
The problem with MJF, great stylist, great fashion sense, terrible tan. He doubled down. He must have tried to tan the tan where he knew he messed up certain spots, and it looked wrong. And so we were coming up with maybe he just needs a stylist. Maybe he needs someone to just hold his hand and go, "Hey, darling, look, this is how you do an all over tan." And basically, we had a nice little girly chat about if only he could just have someone just dress him properly and do his makeup and his nails and all that. He'd be the prettiest boy on earth.
Remember when like HD first became a thing, like in WWE? It was like around that whatever Royal Rumble it was, but no one realized how much HD would show up everything, and all the tans were all over the place. It was kind of like that. Yeah,
they do an edict for them to all stop tanning at one point. I'm sure they did. Yeah, I'm sure there was some kind of edict for them to stop doing spray tans because it was showing up on HD.
But as I said, MJF got in the ring. He was about to hit Cole. I do also want to make note that Adam Cole, realizing he done effed up, he decided to try and motion, "Let's hug. It's been a while." After everything that's happened, which everyone literally just went, "I can't wait for this." You could hear it, and he just walked. MJF gave him a hug, immediately kicked him in the balls. I was wearing headphones watching this show. It was such a satisfying thud that I heard.
Yeah. You could hear the thud and then the rise of the crowd as he did it too.
Yeah. And then he hit a brain buster on him as well.
I paused it because I was writing notes, and I have the most cursed freeze frame of that moment after he got hit. After. Oh, it's beautiful. It's literally like if Adam Cole's face was starting to melt.
His eyes were bugging out of his head.
As Sean has said in the Twitch chat, kicking the balls is the new Stone Cold Stunner.
Yep. Pretty much.
So after this, MJF grabs the microphone that Adam Cole was talking on and quote unquote says to security, "Get this shit stain out the ring." Which as soon as that happened, it's like, oh, I'm well up for an MJF promo. Let's do this.
Oh,
he said, to try and sort of breeze past, as it were, some of what he said here. Cole had given him something that he had never given to anyone before. Also, never given him before. Trust. But that'll never happen again. As all Adam Cole did was wake MJF up. He's a generational talent, and here's better than you line. MJF then said that instead of those schmucks in the back, he doesn't need a New Japan or Vince McMahon, he name-checked him, to make a star. MJF made MJF. That line.
That was cool.
Mwah.
Oh, I screamed when I heard that line. I was just like, oh my God.
I also liked where, because of all the speculation about where he was going to land in 2024, I like how he didn't tell us. I liked how he showed us. Literally.
Well, that's a perfect thing to
Yeah.
move on to here. He then emphasized no more ha-ha, no more kangaroo kicks, no more bullshit, quote unquote. It's all about hate, hate, hate. When you're driven by hate, no one is safe. MJF then picked up the devil mask that was on the floor following Adam Cole's corpse being kicked in the balls. And then he then adorned the cowards by saying that he is done hiding. No one is more complete in the sport than MJF. It's not his fault that everyone else's favorite suck a big bag of donkey dicks, quote unquote. He said he doesn't need a mask to show that no one is on the level of the devil. The dumb mask and everything it symbolizes can go to hell. He also buried the year 2023 as a whole as well, just saying that era of MJF is done. And he also then decided to do like the Ric Flair putting the boots to the mask and doing an elbow drop, which was good fun as well.
Yeah.
Woo.
He then says, in regard to his contract status, he's all in. He's double or nothing. He then pulled up one of the trouser legs. What are they called? You're wearing a pair of trousers. What's it called? Yeah, trouser leg. I basically only wear 3/4 length shorts most of the time, so I drew a total blank there. He pulled up one of the trouser legs and revealed the tattoo and just said, like, cameraman, zoom.
Jeremy,
and then he zoomed in.
Their trousers, it's just that they're on you, so they're just short all the time.
Yeah, look, fair. Absolutely fair. I'll give you that one. And what we saw there was a tattoo that basically made it clear he is staying in AEW. The crowd went absolutely ballistic for this. It was an amazing return. I cannot wait to see where this goes next.
I cannot wait to see if in a few years' time he re-signs his contract. He's going to have to wear very high boots.
There you go.
It was.
What do you think of this, Harriet?
Oh, it's a well done tattoo because it was in the style of a poker chip, obviously because of Double or Nothing, and that was like the first pay-per-view, pay-per-view live event of its time. And it had on it "Bet on Yourself," which was very interesting because now he's sticking to like the lone wolf sort of thing. I did love the promo. It was so good. It was just like, as soon as he walked in the ring, it's like, this is going to be amazing. And it was. I mean, as soon as I saw the room and the corridor of the MJF stuff, I was just like, well, that's it. I'm back in. It's like, Sean, I'm back in now with AEW because I have missed that thing the Wolf of Wrestling, where he said when it comes to AEW, he's the Wolf of Wrestling because he's not effing leaving, and then that's it. The promo ends, and it's just like beautiful. I love this new look to MJF. I think if you want, like, I know this is like a hard reset. It's kind of a good reset of like, well, kind of the way it ended, and he probably didn't want to have the same style after tagging with Adam Cole, and it's just like, I think it's great.
For sure.
Yeah, the complete dichotomy compared to what I'll call his 2023 incarnation with the whole Beth and New Bebe stuff, which was such good fun. It genuinely was so damn good. The complete dichotomy of this, it's so good. Just from this one segment alone. But also, and maybe this is something we'll come on to before we wrap up today, but where does he go next? Because has he now, for want of a better phrase, has he got his revenge on Cole? Or is that just the initiation of it? Because it felt very definitive. What do you say, Matty?
It felt like an end of that story and a start of something new. It honestly felt like, right, we cannot satisfactorily end this the way we were hoping to end this. Let's just move on, refresh, restart. I do think him and Adam Cole are going to meet up again, especially over Wardlow, because we still have that storyline between Adam Cole and Wardlow to go, and Wardlow is always tied to MJF through one means or another. But I would now like to see something new, because unfortunately the stuff between him and Adam, because of no fault of their own, it just is what it is. That's now stone cold, and this felt like now we're moving on from that. On top of everything else, shall we go on?
No, I was going to say, I think it was kind of the best way to end it. Yeah. Kind of for now. For now, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. On on top of all of that, I love that he is ultimately trying something new. I don't think he's a heel, despite what his promo dictates. I just think he's going to be now even more of a stone, like a Steve Austin tweener. Very much, he is still your arsehole. He is an arsehole, but he's very much like not a hated one, and he knows this. So I think this is where he just leans into that a lot more.
There was one line during his promo, just to interject briefly, if I may, where I can't remember the exact phrasing, but he kind of, I think it was when he was talking about his contract. He kind of mentioned like, "You dumb marks out there." No offense, everyone. Just like that little moment of just like going, "Look, I mean that in the kindest respects. Like, please don't take that personally." Yeah. So it kind of, again, like you said, adds that little element.
He's their arsehole. He's referring to the fans around him. No one in the ring. Everyone in the ring.
Matty, I was going to say, sorry, scumbag, please. He's not an arsehole, he's a scumbag.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's their scumbag. He's still an arsehole. But yes. True, but, so when he's talking about being their scumbag, he's talking about the fans around him. That's the babyface side. He doesn't trust anybody in the ring in front of him. That is pretty much a bit of pretty much what he's always been, which is MJF. But also, that is like the bad end of him. So I love that there's this beautiful smorgasbord of like conflicting stuff going on there, which he's always had, but now it's very much right there in the open. One thing that I was going to say, but I keep on forgetting because we keep diverging into other things. One thing as well, this is also technically the 5th anniversary of MJF, because Double or Nothing. I mean, you're not incorrect. But... 007. Double or Nothing 2019 is when he made his actual proper television debut after being an independent for so long. I think the closest he got to it being in the periphery was All In, the original All In, and MLW. But AEW Double or Nothing is where he first made his television debut and shined. In the press conference, he was one of the biggest things to come out of it. The whole Better Than You, the whole bullying of Conrad Thompson, the whole sticking his gum on his forehead and sticking a spoon out of his mouth. You know, AEW made MJF, and Double or Nothing will always be like the absolute stamp of where MJF started.
The
in my view of everyone. So yeah, it was absolute poetry that he came back here 5 years later. So there we go. Yeah, I think that was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, very, very much that was his opportunity on a big stage to really make his mark. Because it was one of those things as well, not to deviate too much, but if you knew about MJF, you knew. Yeah. It was like you sort of couldn't avoid it in certain circles, as it were. But the next match on the card, unless Harriett, I should give you a chance. Anything else you would like to say about that?
I'm just glad he's back, pretty much. I mean, I wasn't going to wear the shirt originally, and then as soon as he came back, I was like, well, I know what I'm digging out of the cupboard today. I haven't worn it in a while, so...
Well, speaking of digging out the cupboard, because the Bang Bang Gang just decided to dig out all of their title belts and wear them as one giant belt, all three of them, which I love as a concept.
I thought you were going to go with, speaking of digging themselves out of the cupboard, Tony Storm, but we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that. But next up, we had the Unified World Trios title match. It was the Bang Bang Gang defending against Death Triangle. Per F4W Online, this match was filled with action, but the big story here came at the end as we finally got the return of Juice Robinson. It almost happened so quickly that probably the crowd didn't even initially realize what happened, and then you saw afterwards the celebration, and you clocked, oh my god, the Bang Bang Gang are complete! Finally, once again.
There was some prompting from people because he was seen outside the venue, but yeah, I agree. Otherwise,
I mean, I would have said he was just with Tony Storm, because I believe they're married, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Yeah, so it could have just been with them. But either way, this was a really fun match. Some insane like double teams that were happening. Also, a nice little follow up to the tag team match that the Guns and the Lucha Bros had on Collision the night before as well. So kind of a nice little through line going on there. really, really, really good, fun stuff. But ultimately, Juice Robinson's involvement got the better of the Death Triangle, meaning that the Bang Bang Gang retain their title. And I look forward to now seeing the full-blown entrance of the Bang Bang Gang on Dynamite once again. And Juice Robinson just being wonderfully weird.
Yes.
Matty.
One interesting note to make is during the match, commentary made a thing of saying that with the unified titles, we got a new lineage, and I believe the Bang Bang Gang are the first holders of this lineage.
Correct.
I kind of disagree with like having a fresh start on that. I reckon that if you're representing it as AEW, the lineage that came in before that with the triple triple tag belts should have been retained. But it's a nice thing for them to convey that over commentary for like people who aren't in the know. It's a good point to bring out. Now, does this mean that they're never going to separate the titles? Because they haven't actually established that before. It's just that they were holding both belts. But from the sounds of things, those belts are now not going to get separated. Which, to be fair,
No, after you. Sorry, I cut you off. Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say two lots of triple belts is probably a little too much. But then, you know me, I always make the argument that the Ring of Honor belts should be kept on Ring of Honor exclusively, but that's just me. But yes, so it's interesting. It's really, really interesting during that. Because also, who is going to take it off the Bang Bang Gang, especially if they decide to utilize a Freebird rule? With that being said, lovely to see Juice Robinson back. I am a big fan of his. A lot of people don't know the fact that there's history between him and Jay White. They were both in the New Japan Young Lions system together, so they've always been connected to one another in that way. Mm-hmm. And Jeremy, are you back?
I am back. Yeah, sorry, I had
you
a quick
are back.
Cough there, folks.
Yeah,
I am back. Go. But yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna be honest. I just am really looking forward to hearing a promo from Juice Robinson. I need to hear him just suddenly go something again, just like rock hard, Juice Robinson, or however the heck he does it. Harry, you're probably not used to that yet. You're in for a whale of a time. It's gonna be tremendous.
I mean, yeah, because obviously with the commotion at the end of the match, I didn't know who it was, and then obviously I looked afterwards who he was. But yeah, it was a really good match. I know we kind of delved on it a little bit earlier, but there was a moment where we got scared by a DDT with Pac, and then suddenly that was scary for a moment, but it was a good match. I loved all the high flying moves as well, in and out of the ring. It's like
they make it look so easy. That's what's annoying about it.
I know, it's like Penta goes one way, Phoenix goes the other, it's like whee sort of thing.
Every single triple tag match have always been enhanced by Death Triangle in one way or another. They just work so well with all the teams. It's really cool to see. It was nice to see Death Triangle back together as well, because they've been one of my personal favorites, alongside the House of Black, in fact. One thing we need to point out is during all of this, oh my God, poor old Pac's neck.
Yeah.
Like, we watched that. The human head should not move in that way. That was disgusting to see.
Pac's built different.
I nearly popped my clogs. That wasn't even a Newcastle accent.
I'll let you be the judge of that, Matty. I'm not making any comment.
Oh, it was awful. I'll definitely be the judge of that. But I lived.
I will say, it's a complete random tangent. During this match, shout out to the person in the crowd who had a sign that said "Time Splitters 3 when."
I didn't even notice.
Well,
to which the answer to that is going to be never. Or which technically it's already happened, but you know.
The only thing I spotted in the crowd was an Orange Cassidy cosplayer. That was it.
Yep, there you go.
Front row.
Speaking of, it's almost like you planned it, Harriet. Thank you very much. Speaking of, the next match was, quote unquote, a straight up wrestling match, as it was Orange Cassidy against former best friend Trent in a straight up wrestling match. I nearly said a championship match because I'm so used to there being championships on the line on the show, but no, that is how it goes. This match, I really enjoyed, and I thought the dynamic of both of them was so well played. Trent actually now getting a bit of like a remix of the Best Friends theme to be like a darker version of it. I really liked him coming out in black tights and whatnot now, kind of almost a different image, was really good. Orange Cassidy going back to his OG AEW music of the Pixies song that I never know what it's called. So if someone knows, feel free to fill in the blank, as it were. But just really, really good stuff. And I think that, what's the way to phrase this? I really like this match because it was so story focused. And after that, after the match before it, which had such a different dynamic about it, I think this was a really nice dichotomy on that front as well. So I'm really, really happy that they really got to play out this story. And to add to what you were saying earlier, Matty, the Don Callis involvement in all of this, him sprinkling a little bit of stuff into this match where, is he really siding with Orange Cassidy? I say that because there's another element later in the show which leads me to think otherwise.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This whole storyline with Orange Cassidy has been really, really interesting because it's kind of like a sleight of hand in a way, because we've all been looking at Trent's gradual spiral into darkness, where we're overlooking the fact that actually Orange Cassidy seems to be slipping as well. And it's little things as well, like he started donning the slightly darker denim a little while ago.
the true sign of a heel turn.
Yeah, and then he stopped wearing the white t-shirts as of this match and is wearing black instead. And Don Callis is a lot more in his... Yes, he wore Ray-Bans instead. And
he got a brand deal. He's sold out.
It took me a little while to figure out what was so different about it. I went, oh yeah, it's the glasses. The glasses are different. So I'm really intrigued as to where this is going, considering the fact Trent at the end of this match, Orange Cassidy wins. And Trent is like, the acting on Trent, by the way, like where he's just processing in his mind and he's like really conflicted and you can see something's going on. You can clearly see there's something going on there. And he shrugs off Renee Paquette, goes into the crowd, saying, I'm not doing this. I'm done. And there's Orange Cassidy just laying there. But the fact that Don is still at his beck and call, like Don is still there. I am so intrigued as to what this is about. Like,
so may I make a proposal?
Go on.
As to what could happen. Now, I don't think this is what's going to happen because jumping forward a little bit, there's an interview segment a bit later with Don Callis, and Harriet will come back to your thoughts on the match. I've not forgotten you, I promise.
No.
There's an interview segment a bit later on where Don Callis is sort of being asked about, so what's the deal with Orange Cassidy and whatnot? And he starts talking about how he's been really impressed by the gutsy performance, never mentions Orange by name. And then he says, so here's a scoop for you. I'm going to offer a contract for the Don Callis family on Dynamite. But he never says Orange Cassidy's name.
No.
Which makes me think it's probably going to be Trent. But hypothetically, if it was Orange Cassidy he gives it to, may I please propose what he will be known as?
Fire Ant! No, I'm joking.
So, in the world of real life fruit, you have variations of apples. You also have variations of oranges. So maybe he will be called Blood Orange Cassidy.
Orange. I was thinking that. I was waiting to say that. I was thinking it.
I didn't even know you were thinking that as well.
I was thinking it the whole time, but I was saying, no, I think Jeremy's literally going to say the same thing, so I said it with you.
Oh, wait, hang on. I need to say this from Multi-Class Geek in the chat, then we'll cut over to Harriet. But from Concentrate Orange Cassidy. He had bits, now he's Concentrate. Harriet, after you.
Why? Oh god, right, okay.
What do they call bits in America? Pulp. There you go, he's pulp.
I was going Damn it, Jeremy, I was going to say, if you had a hardcore match with him, would you get him into a bloody pulp? A blood orange pulp.
The blood orange pulp.
So with that being said, Harriet, what did you think coming into this? I assume you probably weren't particularly aware of the story sans the video package before. So how did you find this match?
Yes, to be fair, you're right. I didn't know fully. I did have to voice message Matty and just like, is this what such and such happened? Because I remembered Chad getting the injury beforehand. I was like, does this relate to this? Chuck, sorry. And he said, yeah, does this relate to this? And he said, yes, it does. I was like, okay, now it makes sense. So now I was kind of aware of what was happening, like the best friends and that. It was pretty much a full-on just a proper wrestling match of just like blows here, there, and everywhere. Trent was very calm in the beginning half of that. It was just like nonchalant, but kind of like, I'm going to take my time in regards to doing this. And it was very good. I did notice with Orange, like the shirt and also like the glasses, I was just like, you look different. You do not look the same as when I saw you last. But yeah, I like the whole thing because obviously he sticks the hands in his pockets. That's his kind of shtick. So I knew then kind of grew into his own and kind of defeated it. The ending was very quick, I will say, because it was kind of like, oh, the pin, it's done sort of thing. But I think it was kind of a counter, wasn't it, from what I saw? I didn't actually rewind to watch it, but yeah, I thought the match was good. I'm wondering though what is going to happen going forward with Orange Cassidy, because again with Don Callis, you're literally right, Matty. Don Callis was everywhere in this.
Don Callis or nothing.
Well, this is it. Yeah.
Don or nothing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Same initials, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Again, one of my favorite.
Don - Callis or nothing. So from there, it has occurred to me that I actually skipped a match. So apologies, folks. We are going to double back to that because that's all on me, as it were. But we did have the AEW Women's World Championship match. That being Toni Storm against Sareena Deeb. So this match, I don't really know what I think of it.
I like it
because I didn't not like it. I said, let me read sort of the quick recap, as it were, from F4W, then we can sort of go from there. So, after a pretty quiet first half in which the crowd cheered for Storm and not so much for Deeb, these ladies got the fans going the last few minutes, so credit to them for that. I love the callbacks to Mariah May wanting to throw in the towel, a la when Toni Storm did it for her on Dynamite recently during a recent match with Sareena Deeb. But Luther refusing for her to do that, only to be then caught by Toni with the towel as a result. Maybe they had just committed to Storm as a complete baby. Maybe had they just committed to Storm as a complete babyface and Deeb as a heel to start this program, the crowd would have reacted better throughout. Regardless, the storyline continues to build with Storm and May, and I look forward to seeing what happens next. Now, admittedly, I've just sight read that. And I think that actually sums up my feelings on the match, is that I didn't know which way I was meant to be going with it as a viewer, because it's flipped back and forth quite a few times now as to Sareena Deeb's had this really life-changing medical issue of like having 3 seizures and no one knows why, yet everyone's cheering for Toni. It's like, how does that work?
Do you want to go, Harry?
No, you carry on first.
So it's been a weird situation all the way through anyway, because what we have here is a situation where both women are tweeners. So Sareena Deeb's come off the back of being like a proper, like, full egotistical heel. Then she had a away time and she came back, and although she's very much a tweener, she's still verging on that egotistical, I can defeat anyone heel persona. But with like a smattering of humanizing her with the seizures and the medical problems. Then we've got Toni Storm, who is unashamedly timeless Toni Storm, to the point where no one can hate her. No one can hate this woman at all. And she's very much doing sort of really heelish stuff. But you can't hate her because it's all in the character. And she has made that work. One of the biggest things we can't overlook in all of this, her whole presentation, a fair bit of that is from Mariah May herself, like from their socials, from their promo work, to the fact that very much this is a bisexual storyline as well. There is a massive queer aspect to this as well. We can't overlook that either. There's a huge appeal to that, and a lot of stuff, character work that Mariah has brought in from Stardom. The Luther thing is interesting because we have a dynamic where Luther was her servant, very much her favorite. It's very much like handling everything for her. And then Mariah came into the picture. And then ever since Mariah came into the picture, Toni has treated Luther with a more and more disrespect, more and more, you boy, carry my things, that sort of thing. And you could see the facial work from him. This is the best work Luther has ever done in AEW, by the way. You could see like the face, like the facial work from him, where he's being a little bit like, I don't like doing this. What she put me through, I'm really starting to resent being here. But never actually stating, never actually saying. But you can see from his body language and his facials. But still being 100% a servant towards it. It's kind of like Virgil in the old WWF days, in fact. I think we're going to have he's going to break away from the act. I think that is going to be one of the emphases on fully making Toni a babyface. I think this has been her best pay-per-view match to date because
Who are you talking about, sorry?
Toni. This has been one of her best pay-per-view matches to date as Toni, a timeless Toni, on account that it hasn't been your standard heel interference, like copy and paste. We talked about this the last time you and me covered an AEW pay-per-view. She got lumbered with the same sort of like package that Britt Baker had, where you have a match, then you have interference, lull, Britt won. We had this for Toni. Very little in the way of interference in this match, and what we got was a bit of a semi work rate match, which you would get because Sareena Deeb is involved, and it showcased a fair bit of Toni's wrestling as well, which you tend to forget. She actually is really good at this, and I think that's where the conflict comes in, because ultimately, guys, I think this was I think this is a foregone conclusion. Sareena was never going to win this title, so we were just here for pretty much just the character work, and it's easy enough to overlook it as well, which we almost did, in fact. So, yeah, fair dues to her. I think this has been her best match yet. I'm really interested to see where this goes.
Harriett.
Yeah, I think out of all the AEW stories, this is the one I know the most because I really like Toni Storm, and this timeless Toni Storm has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed all the stuff that's happened. I haven't seen all of her matches, so I can't really compare, but from what I've heard of other people, yes, I'm guessing this is probably going to be the best, because from what I've heard, some of them have not been as good, or they could be better. The whole throwing of the towel thing, yeah, that was interesting in regards to how Mariah was going to do it, and then obviously Luther struggled, took the towel off, and then Toni thought it was him and literally just said, "How dare you, you bastard," sort of thing, and just like, and the guilt kind of took in, and it was like trying to hype up the crowd. The match itself, yeah, it was good. Lots of submissions, but then I've learned that Sareena does a lot of submissions from what I gathered. Yeah, and it was kind of brutal at times, especially like with some of the moves, but it was good. I enjoyed it, but yeah, the whole thing of like who is heel, who is face, even I couldn't grasp it at times, because I know Toni is a tweener. I didn't know what Sareena was, but I was going by what the crowd was chanting. It was like, well, they don't like Sareena, so I'm guessing they're treating her as the heel, even though she's not. So I think it is a thing that sometimes when in wrestling you're trying to make a heel out of someone, it kind of goes about on its head, and they kind of end up as a babyface. So I don't know where it kind of happened in this case, but from what I can see, Toni is doing great in her character role, and it's something I don't know if it will continue with Mariah. I don't know, but yeah, I didn't mind the match. I thought it was good, but yeah, very confusing at times.
I think I know where it's going to go. Eventually, she's going to break away from Mariah, and that's going to be your feud.
The next one.
But oh my god, the sexual tension between them in the interim and leading up to the grudge match.
Oh.
Well, the other element to add into this, though, is that there is also still the Mina Shirakawa from Stardom element, who is occasionally popping up on AEW television. For context, Harriet, Mariah's former tag team partner from Stardom.
Yes, I do vaguely know that. I do know some of Stardom, so I kind of had a familiarity. That was the only thing. Apart from that,
I'm in the same boat. I've never seen very much Stardom myself, so very much in the same boat on that front. So from there, next up on the card, and this is after the Orange Cassidy match, because obviously I said this in the wrong order now, but after Orange Cassidy, we then got some FTW rules match, because it was the For the World Championship match, as Chris Jericho defended the championship against Katsuyori Shibata and Hook for the FTW title. Now, I've not had a chance to say this on the podcast because it's been a while since I've been on one. The FTW stuff is so ridiculous, I actually like it. Partly because I like how angry Taz is getting on commentary about it as well. That's what makes it funnier.
Taz should have been on commentary for this match.
He should have.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So I'll read a bit of the quick recap here from F4W. So they say you're either a fan of FTW rules matches or you're not. I thought this was fine and had some clever moments, but on a show that also had Anarchy in the arena and a barbed wire cage match, it felt like the crowd was almost saving it. The finish plays into the promise that Brian Keith made to Chris Jericho on Collision the night before, that he would do something about what happened to him in the three-way match last Wednesday on Dynamite. It appears that the Learning Tree has hired a bounty hunter. Now, what that recap doesn't tell you is that this match, I think, was actually very good fun for what it was.
Yeah.
And in FTW rules matches, we've had some very unique things in recent times, Harriet, also giving you context here. We've had things such as, thumbtacks, same old traditional things. We've also had hockey pucks, which was quite a thing to see happen. And in this match, I want to say for the first time ever, we got a bag full of dice. And the idea that these dice were being used as weapons, not just on the mat, but also being thrown to people as weapons, amused me to no flipping end. I really enjoyed this match. Was it dumb? Of course it was. Did Big Bill nearly get a table leg straight through him? Of course it nearly happened.
I recorded that. I was going to send it to you guys on WhatsApp, but I realised that Harriet hadn't reached that yet.
You can now.
Did Hook nearly get folded up in a table spot in the ring on a suplex from the top rope? Yes, he nearly did. But was this match good fun, and did Chris Jericho retain ultimately? Yes, he did. I enjoyed this more than it was. I had a good time. Harriet, how about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. When the dice came into play, I was just like, well, Las Vegas makes sense.
Exactly.
But I did love the fact afterwards, being thrown into dice, obviously, is going to be painful because obviously, even though they're tiny, not the equivalent of stepping on Lego, but near enough, But I did love the whole throwing of the dice to Jericho and at each other. It was fun. I mean, as soon as the table was brought out, I was just thinking, oh, it's that kind of match, right? Okay, let's get down with this. But I also love the kendo sticks as well, like Jericho trying to hit Shibata and Hook, and they both just stood there like, mate, really? Sort of thing. And then they just attacked him back. It was great. It was just like everyone said, oh, he must have got the defunct kendo sticks. Like, no, they literally just do. They just want to kill you. So
I think even one of the commentators just went, how'd you get a defunct kendo stick?
Yeah. I know.
It glitches out of the Matrix.
Yeah. But no, I really enjoyed it. I think this is the first FTW match I have seen. It was dumb. I loved it. I mean, I love dumb stuff like that. So it was fun. I mean, I'm still learning with the whole tree of Jericho, or the tree of learning with Jericho, because this is obviously a new form of him that I don't really know too much about. But...
It's barely a month old actually, so you come into it very early.
Fair enough. I thought it'd been for a while, so that's good. So yeah. But
Matty, how about you?
I enjoyed this match. Yeah.
I find it absolutely humorous that the best way to protect Shibata is put him in hardcore matches.
For a guy who literally is one of the best wrestlers on the planet, was just a straight up wrestler in Japan for most of his career, he's come to AEW and has had 2 really flipping good hardcore matches. What is going on?
He's genuinely funny guy. If you told me that Shibata, the wrestler, the guy who pretty much ruled New Japan Cup, the guy who absolutely was fantastic in the G1, literally put his baby brain on the line in that. If you told me, as I spray all over my mic, if you told me he was going to be one of the funniest, most entertaining guys in AEW on the mid card, I would have gone, you fool, you absolute fool. But I see it. I absolutely see it, and I live for it.
Harriet, I will ask, just to jump on that, Matty, quickly. Harriet, are you aware how Shibata does his promos?
No.
Oh.
Okay. Do we spoil it, Matty, or do we wait for it?
Yeah, we'll spoil it. I'll tell you how it goes. So, in interviews, he doesn't actually talk. He types into his phone, so he does a translator. It then verbalizes in a woman's voice to the interviewer.
Okay.
And then if it's somebody like Renee Young, he will then pay her a compliment saying, "You've got a lovely flowery dress today."
Or if it's someone like Samoa Joe wearing a weird T-shirt, he's just like, the response is something like, "No man that big should be wearing a floral pattern shirt like that."
Yeah, he gives fashion tips.
So dumb, but it works.
And it's in this sort of like AI woman's voice. Say, "Your hair is lovely today." And then after he does like a full promo as well during that, like a full-on promo, like a full paragraph. And he's just there with just a straight face as he's then playing it out. So he's obviously typed it, and then he's playing it, and his face is just...
He must be a quick typer.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But Matty, before you carry on with your point you were making, though, I will draw attention to this comment in the chat.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, actually. Thanks, Misha. Yeah, because the D4 have points on it. They're pyramids, literal pyramids.
If you're unfamiliar with what a D4 dice is, folks, it's not the square one you're used to. It's a different shaped one with pointy bit. It would have freaking hurt.
I'm going to counter that, Misha, but then how would it fit in with the casino aspect of Double or Nothing?
This is when we find out in Las Vegas there's actually like a Dungeons and Dragons themed, casino there or something.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No, there's again not much I can really add to what Harriet said. I enjoyed this match. Unfortunately, I'm starting to really get the learning tree part of Jericho, and I hate that. I hate that so much, Jeremy.
But you know why? Because he is the learning tree.
I love the whole hello, how are you? Hi, ignoring
That's
the
so
hate.
stupid, isn't it?
He knows he's being really hated now, and he's just leaning into the whole he genuinely I'm gonna ignore all that and say how good it is to be me for the world championship.
I think Nigel McGuinness at one point, from what I remember, said, "Oh, he is loved by everyone, or everyone around the world." And I don't know who said it. It was just like, I can't believe you just said that.
That's Nigel McGuinness, though. That's his whole thing on Collision. Is he
Nigel's awesome.
He always sides with the heels and always says like a little thing that's like, bless, aren't they great?
I saw it with Tony Storm in the last match. How much he was just like, yeah.
He is literally mad for Mariah, quite literally.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she's a very pretty lady.
Yeah, very, very true. I will add, though, actually, the final point on this match, though, I'm really happy that they're going to do something with Brian Keith, because since he made his debut on AEW television, he's kind of been peppered in and about a little bit. Never really been much of a direction. The idea that Jericho, as F4W pointed out, may have almost like his own bounty hunter, because that seems like a perfect thing to do. I really like that as an idea. So I'm looking forward to seeing where Brian Keith fits into the mold on this.
And more importantly, a lot of these storyline notes happened on Collision, which gives Collision a point. Yay, everybody.
A purpose. You know what else had a purpose? The next match, because it was an IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator match, which basically meant if the non-champion participant won the match, they would receive a future IWGP World Championship match at some point down the line. It was Katsuyori Shibata against Jon Moxley. The night before on Collision, there was a chair. There was like a... Was it Collision?
Was it Shibata versus Moxley? Because are you talking about the match on the pay-per-view?
Wait, did I say Shibata? Sorry, I was reading notes at the same time. Okay, take two.
Yeah.
For the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator match, it was Jon Moxley against Konosuke Takeshita. There you go. That's what I get for reading a note while I was trying to say something. That's what I get for that.
I got worried I wrote it down then wrong.
So, going into this match, the night before, there was a moment on Collision where Takeshita had attacked Jon Moxley with a chair on the arm, and we saw a replay of this. This played heavily into the match because most of the time, Moxley was on the receiving end of this match. This was a very different paced match on the show, and it really worked to its advantage. It actually felt in some ways similar to what an IWGP Championship match in Japan might be like. Sort of slow, methodical. It kind of builds up a long time. There's a lot of technical elements to it. And Takeshita was pretty much working on Moxley's arm for the majority of the match, which turned it ultimately into a really freaking great match. But you could very easily argue the one problem with this match is, as great as Takeshita is, this was a really freaking great performance from him again. As great as Moxley was, as he always is again, I don't think anyone saw Moxley wasn't winning this. Partly because he is defending the title at an upcoming New Japan show against Evil. But I like the fact they tried to add in the element, at least on commentary, of it doesn't necessarily mean Takeshita will face Moxley. He will just get a future championship match. But the other element to this, which this is the political side of me thinking now from a wrestling point of view, is Takeshita is technically aligned with the DDT promotion in Japan. And though New Japan have done working relationship stuff with DDT, it seemed unlikely that was probably going to be a possibility, with all due respect. So, excuse me, carry on for a second, Matty, but as great as the match was, I don't think anyone thought that was going to happen, but really freaking great match. Don't mind me, I'm going to have a cough.
So, yeah, while I vamp for time here is what we're doing here. To what Jeremy was saying there, I believe there is an actual sort of like thing going on with a lot of the Japanese promotions at the moment. So New Japan, Noah, DDT, Stardom, All Japan, I think, as well. So this is how big this is. They're currently doing a thing where they're sort of running a bunch of cross promotions. So in theory, I think it's not beyond the rider's scope of imagination to have Takeshita challenge for the IWGP Championship, because I believe as well, I think is it this week or pretty soon we're going to have the All Together pay-per-view over in Japan, where like a smorgasbord of promotions are all going to be having interpromotional matches against one another. So I'm looking forward to finding that at some point. To Jeremy's point, it's fine. Plus, I do believe Takeshita, I will get that right, is actually more of an AEW aligned roster member now than he is a DDT. He actually gets borrowed by DDT to come up to their promotion now, as opposed to he is a DDT member who is borrowed to AEW. He's actually signed with AEW now.
He is all elite, if you will.
He is all elite, as it were. So it's not too bad now. Whatever happens in the next few months after All Together is another matter. But I believe they've now put a thing in place where all of the promotions are actually doing like their version of an NWA, but on a much sort of smaller level. So we will see what happens there in the months to come. With that being said, I love this match. Again, the running theme of this is it was a foregone conclusion who was going to win this. I never felt there was any doubt that Moxley wasn't going to win this. Having said that, the match between them was incredible. At one point, Takeshita was putting his thumbs into Moxley's eyes, but because Takeshita has black nail varnish, it looked like he was just merely replacing Moxley's eyes with his thumbs, and that Moxley was just looking out through Takeshita's thumbs.
Coraline style.
Curse you, nail varnish.
But with that being said, again, Don Callis very much involved in this. He was there as well because it's Don Callis or nothing in this pay-per-view. I don't actually have much else to say other than I enjoyed it. Foregone conclusion.
Harriett.
Yeah, same. It was brutal, but a good kind of brutal of especially with the shoulder being attacked a lot because obviously it was bandaged, so you knew Takeshita was going to go straight for it, and he did. There was one spot outside the ring where he kind of twisted him and then kind of landed him on the rope. But the way that the shoulder, oh god, it looked like he inverted his shoulder, and it was just like, it was pretty brutal. Though later on, because the bandages got really loose, Moxley did capitalize and use it to choke out Takeshita at some point. No, this was a good match. I mean, I didn't know, as you know, I'm learning this story going along. I love Moxley anyway. I thought he was great, and it was just done really well. I don't know going forward what's going to happen, but I just loved it. I thought it was great. Can't really add more to what Matty said apart from that. It was good. I really enjoyed it.
I will add two more things. The finish I really liked because Takeshita had two ridiculously close near falls on Moxley. And then that's when Don Callis decided to say in Japanese, "Kurase, I kill him." So Takeshita gets some chairs, starts throwing them in the ring. He throws them almost too far, so the ref then has to start moving them out. He then slides one more in, that being Takeshita. He's crawling in to go and grab it, and then Moxley has to jump as high as he bloody can so he can then do a stomp onto the chair with Takeshita's face. And I just saw that and just went, oh, mwah!
Yeah, that was good.
With that being said, choking someone out with a really limp bandage? No, don't do that. Dropping someone's face into a ladder? Okay.
To be fair, the ref wasn't looking, to be fair.
No.
But the other thing I want to draw attention to, and this is now where I get on to the conduct of fans. Or at least the playing into things as fans. Because if someone's walking by you, you see one arm of theirs, which looks totally fine, free from bandages, no strapping whatsoever. Maybe you want to tap them on the shoulder, go, "Oh, hey, I really like you, yay," as they're walking to the ring. If you see the other arm, and it is covered from wrist to shoulder across the chest with a bandage, maybe don't just go tapping on Moxley's shoulder like this. You know,
that was
trying to high five him and whatnot. Like
that was dumb.
You can literally see at one point Moxley standing in the crowd. And he's got that look on his face of, "Do I sell this or not?" Because I feel like I should.
I mean, ultimately, no, he wasn't selling it, but that wasn't even the dumbest thing we saw the audience do. Because you and me watched the buy-in last night, Jamie, where Anthony Bowens leaned back into the audience to do the scissor me thing, to get the audience to scissor him. And a lady slipped what was blatantly a love note into his hand. And he came out looking at it going, "The F is this?" And then he took it off his hand and threw it on the ground. Ladies,
but the lady as well had like just the sternest poker face, just dead
the whole time. Just slipped it into his hands. But also, ladies, I don't know if you know, but I don't think Anthony Bones is on the market. I'm just putting it out there to you, ladies. I'm afraid. I know he's a very attractive man, but I don't think he's available for you. I'm just saying.
Unless it was a love note on behalf of a friend.
Maybe it was very flowery. It was very flowery. It had flowers on it.
Oh my God.
And Billy Gunn, ever the romanticist, just took it, threw it down.
Well, that's why he's a badass, Jeremy.
Now he is a daddy ass. There you go. Oh, there we go. I couldn't follow up. So let's get on to the next match, because Matty and I are both in agreement as to what this match represents. And this next match is the barbed wire steel cage match between one Adam Copeland versus Malakai O'Black of the House of Black.
I'll say it.
I think it is for. I'll tell you. Let me read this out, and then I'll let you take the lead on it as well, because I think because you literally had the same wavelength as me, so I want you to get a chance to say it. So F4W describe it as one of the most violent matches in AEW history, I'd say, as this was a war from the very start. If you're going to have a bloodbath on Wednesday, and then the spectacular entrance, which we'll talk about in a few moments' time, because metal fan Jeremy had a field day with this entrance.
Oh.
And then you had a cameo from someone's past as well. This is exactly what you got. Matty, I will let you take the lead, because this match was great.
This match was also 100% what Edge wanted on his WrestleMania finale, because he wanted the Brood. He wanted to fight Judgment Day as Brood Edge. He wanted Gangrel. He didn't really get any of that apart from an entrance at WrestleMania, and he got all of this. Obviously, get rid of Judgment Day, put in the House of Black. But this was 100% the supernatural, spooky bollocks Edge Adam Copeland wanted and got here. But also, we just discovered that technically the reason why it was just Brood Edge at WrestleMania and the Brood on the AEW entrance is obviously WWE lost the trademark to the Brood. But we got Gangrel as well. So, hey, everybody! Vampires exist in AEW.
So good. And Edge coming out to Slayer's South of Heaven. Like, when it happened at WrestleMania, I remember at the time being like, yes! Absolutely yes! Are you kidding me? And then when I heard that opening riff on the pay-per-view, I literally again went, yes! Absolutely yes! And I was well into it.
I love this.
God.
The only thing is that at one point... Oh! Shall we talk about the fact that they absolutely teased the House of Black just joining Edge? So
yes. That was good.
On Collision, well, we're going to go all about the place with this. We might as well just sort of go.
The promo work was incredible, by the way.
So on Collision, Edge cut a promo from backstage, as it were, like a video package. And in that, he randomly threw in a line about maybe something to the effect of maybe Brody and Murphy might see differently and join the House of Blood. I think he called it.
He called it the House of Blood.
Implying maybe your two cohorts will turn on you and join me. To which I'm then thinking, I actually, as much as I love the House of Black, I kind of want to see that happen. And then during this match, well, after the action's gone to the outside and all sorts of ridiculous malark has happened, the ring literally looks like a carnage war zone, quite frankly. The action's gone to the outside of the ring.
It's like in the opening minutes, they were already busted open and the floor was covered in blood.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So they're on the outside. Brody and Murphy come out. And they're standing side by side with Malakai. Copeland's looking on. You can tell there's that look of, oh, crap. And then there's a moment. The two cohorts of Malakai look at each other. Buddy pulls down his hood that he's wearing from his hoodie. And then they both take 2 steps forward, turn around and look back at Malakai. And the entire building pretty much exploded at the idea of, oh, shit! It's happening! And then 2 seconds later, they beat up Copeland. Like, it was a wonderful moment that everyone was got on this. Everyone. It was so good.
Yeah.
So what took this moment away is when they all went back into the ring afterwards, they literally smothered Adam Copeland head and arms with barbed wire, and they had him held up. When that happened, my immediate thought was, Jesus Christ, superstar.
Now, did you notice that in the crowd, there was someone cosplayed as Jesus?
No.
Yes.
So the crowd at this point started chanting for Jesus.
Oh my god!
Why do you think I sent you that, Harriet?
That makes sense. I suddenly, because I've been messaging Matty for this, and one of the comments I will come across in a minute, but one of them, he sang that song to me, and I was just like, okay, makes sense because of the crown, but I was just like, I didn't realize until then.
More sense when it then happened to Malakai, because he also got a blinking head full of fun. I don't know, again, razor wire over his head, barbed wire.
Yeah, for the cross edge, yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
Jamie had a very salient point. We did also have Jesus in the audience. On the holiest of times, Jeremy.
Indeed, right, indeed. So let's so there's another ridiculous moment in the match, which was well before all of this happened, and we'll sort of get on to what happened at the end, because at one point Malakai is put onto a table, and then Mr. Copeland decides, okay, gonna climb up to the top rope, and then he carries on climbing, and he carries on climbing, and he gets to the very top, and I'm just thinking, please don't die, please don't die. Like, not because I don't trust that he couldn't do a maneuver off the top, but he has wrapped barbed wire literally around Malakai, so he ain't gonna do a frog splash because it might tear him limb from limb, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what are you gonna do? And to be as polite as I can, if you are familiar with the act of, hang on, back up. Say if you're like at a big cliff face and you've got the ocean beneath you, there is something that people like to do called tombstoning, whereby you effectively jump into the water like you're a pencil, as it were. Like, it's a thing. He essentially did that, but somehow added an elbow drop into it. And I saw him land and thought, oh, your legs! And unfortunately, I think one of his feet is really buggered because he could not walk at the end.
No, he was limping the rest of the match. Me and Harriet were texting each other about that as well. So it's go on, Harriet, you say.
No, I was going to say, before the Jesus thing, I literally messaged, and in all caps, okay, how the hell is Edge still walking after that elbow drop? Because he literally landed on his feet, and I was just like, the heck? Oh, God, I literally just like... When I flinch, I literally kind of grab hold of my legs, and literally at this point, probably a good thing to do because he had none by the end of this match. Oh my God.
Did you do the Peter Griffin thing and just go,
Yeah. Imagine, if you will, the moment Adam Copeland's legs make contact with the canvas. Mortal Kombat, where you see the damage inside his limbs.
It was literally a thought.
Oh, I hope he's all right though, genuinely, because it was so high up.
Oh.
He's also let's call a spade here. Adam Copeland is over 50 years old.
Yes, he is.
And he did that. Holy shit.
So, to sort of fast forward now, after we've had all like the House of Black stuff outside, Brody and Buddy walk into the ring and act like they're siding with Copeland, but that was a ruse, as we talked about. Everyone then heads back into the ring. Copeland's wedding ring is placed around the neck of Malakai at this point. It's kind of like a bit of string, because that's the whole emphasis of this feud, is that the sanity to Copeland's current life has been taken away from him as well, his direct link to it. So Copeland then has a crown of barbed wire placed on him when the lights start to go red and flicker a bit. And you can even see Malakai's reaction, thinking, is there another bloody bloodbath above me? No.
Yeah, they kind of all looked up, didn't they?
Yeah. And then you almost see Malakai just go, what was that? Almost. And then at this point, both Buddy and Brody go to like the other side of the ring, where a few moments earlier, Brody had tried to like almost impale or spike something through Copeland, but he moved out of the way. There's a little hole in the ring, as it were. And there appears to be some kind of mist thing happening. At this point, freaking Gangrel shows up. He appears from under the ring. He hits an Impaler DDT on Buddy. He then decks Black with a knee. And then Copeland flies in with a spear before then wrapping the barbed wire around the face of Malakai Black while trapped in a crossface. And then Malakai Black just kind of fades out, goes out cold, as it were. Yeah. Copeland retains the TNT title in, as they so aptly put here, in what was just a war, quite frankly. He ripped the wedding, this being Copeland, he then ripped the wedding ring from the neck of Black, kept it for himself, and then we got a great embrace between him and Gangrel in the middle of the ring. And then Gangrel realized, your foot all right? And you could tell Copeland went something like, no, it's really not. And so he starts helping him hobble to the back. And they do like a little sort of celebratory thing on the ramp as well. But the potential foot injury aside, so good this match. So good.
I literally wrote in all caps in my notes at the beginning, Brood Adam Copeland! And I was like, this is going to lead to Gangrel. And I was not disappointed because I've wanted this for so long. Because I love the whole vampire shtick. Yeah, I mean, I love the whole vampire shtick of stuff. I'm a Supernatural fan, but it's just like, oh my God, this was awesome. I'm so happy by the end of this match. The match itself was brutal. Oh my God. I mean, Malakai was bleeding pretty much after a few minutes back to the barbed wire. And then it just carried on from there. But I loved it. Such a good match.
It is. 2 points of note. Nobody from that match turned up at the media scrum. Also,
why?
but also, oh God, what was my point? I had a point coming. Oh, yes, there's the point. Malakai Black, a man not known for wanting to take the pin or the defeat, did not get pinned or submitted. He fainted.
Yes,
but this is also his first singles defeat in quite some time.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I saw this mentioned on Twitter, so I thought I'd make a note of this stat. So here is a stat for you, Harriet.
Okay.
Malakai Black lost his first singles match at Double or Nothing since October 23rd, 2021.
Whoa.
Which was against something Cody Rhodes.
Wow, okay.
And his loss to Copeland at Double or Nothing was only his second singles loss in AEW ever.
Yep. He's been in tag matches and triple teams ever since.
But still, it's just like, that's a feat.
Also, it's worth noting that whenever they lost the titles, it wasn't Malakai that got pinned or submitted.
Okay. Right, that makes sense, yeah. Okay.
Excuse me.
So, boy done good.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So there isn't an easy way to move on from that match other than to say triple main event time. And the first of the triple main event was a match I was very much looking forward to. It was for the TBS title. It was Mercedes Mone making her in-ring debut in AEW against Willow Nightingale, accompanied at ringside by Stokely Hathaway and Chris Statlander. The first thing I want to note about this match is the atmosphere. Watching on TV was incredible. This was the equivalent of like the biggest boxing match you've seen in like archive footage, the most wildest moments at like football matches and stuff. Anything, or like a concert where people are just going utterly batshit mental, as it were, for want of a better phrase. Anything you can think of where you have that feeling of, man, I'm getting FOMO. Like, just I wish I was there. This was that match for me. The atmosphere was incredible. I think the other thing, before we sort of get to the result, as it were, what ultimately happened, this is the element that has been missing from Mercedes. And I appreciate, we've only seen her cut promos and kind of come out occasionally and do the odd move here and there. But the biggest, there's been a huge element, in my opinion, missing about the Mercedes Mone character in AEW. And now seeing her in the ring, it made it feel complete. With that being said, it didn't change the fact I so damn badly wanted Willow to win this match.
Yeah.
Like, even before the crowd was so on Willow's side, I would at best maybe say it was 70-30 Willow. Like, maybe 60-40 at a push.
Yeah.
But I so badly wanted Willow to win because it actually felt like the equivalent of a homegrown AEW star literally being at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And everything about Willow is so good. The positivity, just how much fun Willow is as a person on television, let alone in life. Just such a fun person. And we'll get to how it all occurred in a moment. But when ultimately Mercedes got the win, it was this is my weird equivalent analogy now. So, football analogy. I'm an Arsenal fan. I was at the final game of the season where there was the slimmest possibility that Arsenal could win the Premier League title this season. I promise this will not be a long analogy. The atmosphere going into the ground was so good. Everyone was like, look, it's probably not going to happen, but we're going to freaking enjoy this day. We're all up for this. It's a slim chance we may win the championship, but what if? And it was that what if that carried the atmosphere in the hours up to the game, going into the stadium, walking along Islington High Street and stuff, getting in there before the game. This energy was so big. That's what it was like. And then we got through the match. We're watching it. I'm thinking, there's a chance. I still think Mercedes is going to win, but I really badly want Willow to win. And then eventually, Mercedes is able to somewhat hit the moneymaker on Willow, gets the pin. And for me, it was that feeling of being in the stadium that day at Arsenal when about 5 minutes in, if that, word started going around that Manchester City had scored. And just that atmosphere, which was at a fever pitch, just went down. And it was almost like the air kind of got sucked out of the room. I can't necessarily tell if it's because Mercedes won or because of how the match ended. Because the ending to me felt just a bit flat and unexpected. I kind of wanted it to be something a bit more grandiose. But the match as a whole, I absolutely loved this match. Ask me in a different hour of the day, this will probably be one of my top matches. This might be my match of the show. Because it was that damn good. Mercedes sort of playing a bit heelish and whatnot, which I know you'll get onto, Matty, so I'll hand over to you in a second. There were just so many different elements working. And then, again, we'll sort of talk about the other elements that unfolded. I'll let you folks talk about them. But this match as a whole was absolutely fantastic and excellent, sans the points that I have made about how I feel about it. With that being said, in an effort to let someone else talk for a minute, Matty.
I'm not a huge fan of Mercedes Moné's promo skills. And a lot of it does feel a little bit insincere when she does the media scrums afterwards and before and stuff like that. With that being said, Mercedes Moné in the ring is incredible. Her character stuff, like from the get-go, immediately she leaned into the idea, oh, I'm hated in this. I'm going to lean into this. I'm going to be the cowardly heel. I'm going to be the person who will totally take advantages because at the end of the day, I want to defeat that bitch Willow Nightingale and take the title because of what she took away from me. That was all told without a single word in the ring. Willow Nightingale is a person who I was never fully on board with at the start. But this TBS championship has really turned me over on her. She has shown some incredible promo skills, some incredible character work, fantastic second to none work rate in the matches that she's had. This match is incredible on her end as well. I bit nearly almost any near fall that was done with Willow towards Mercedes because just like you, Jeremy, I really wanted Willow to win this, and I really hope that AEW do not sleep on her. I don't want her pushed back down the card. I want something to happen with this woman, give this lady the world, because she is their Bailey. We want her to be our girl. She is incredible. I really want to see more Willow. I don't want to put down the pecking order. And I feel that we might get a little bit of this because of what happened after the match. We'll get into that in a moment. I do have some fears because the last time we saw these two women fight, it wasn't a particularly great match. But I hope with the character dynamics shifting the way they are, they might pull it out the bag. With that being said, I've had pretty much all I can say about that. Harriett.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I knew of Mercedes Moné prior, but with Willow Nightingale, I'm still learning. But I have seen she's very well loved in the industry. And one thing I will note, this was kind of the first with Mercedes Moné, obviously her in-ring debut. This was kind of the first entrance that was kind of hyped up for the pay-per-view. It was because we had the Tron-esque drummer boys and then the showgirls and then her coming out in an amazing outfit. I love the hair. I love the style. It was really good. And Willow Nightingale's entrance was cool with the giant friendship band. Oh boy.
So
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And her attire was really cool. Yeah, the match was very much Willow's to win of how dominant she was throughout the whole match. Mercedes acted like the cowardly heel at the beginning, as Matty said, was very good. Has to like, no, I'm not getting involved. You carry on, kind of in a way to tire out Willow, I suppose, and then go in for the kill after. In all, it was a very good match. I think there was the thing of Willow trying to go in for Mercedes going in for Willow's knee, and then later on the match trying to do the same thing back at Mercedes. As to, I think that's how it was originally in the beginning. I think their first match, didn't she injured herself in regards to that? But
yeah, it was an injury she sustained during the match between, I think it wasn't it Willow Nightingale and another Stardom talent, Jeremy? Can you remember? It was a triple threat, I'm sure of it. Anyway, it's an injury that she sustained during the match, but they've retconned it into being an injury she had fighting Willow.
Fair enough.
Which added an extra bit of
I seem to recall the injury occurred during the match with Willow, but it wasn't because Willow did a move on her. It's because she jumped to the outside and her ankle basically shattered. Yeah. So they kind of retconned it to be more that Mercedes blames Willow for the injury, even though it was very much just a freak accident. That's how it comes across to me, if I remember correctly.
I'm for sure that's what I think it was,
Because prior to the match, obviously, we hadn't seen a lot of, this was Mercedes' debut. We'd only seen her being interviewed. The sign-in, I did watch in full, I think it was on Dynamite, was interesting because obviously Willow literally powerbombed Mercedes through a table, so it's just like, well, kind of foreshadow, if logic goes, who's going to win on Sunday's show. But I had a feeling Mercedes was going to win, because if you're going to have her on her first show, you're going to make her look strong after everything that's happened. You cannot have her lose. So it made sense for her to win, and also made sense as to how interference played into it in regards to distractions and how it led on to what happened at the end of the match. But in all, I did enjoy it. The ending, kind of took deflated a bit, but in all, I did enjoy it as a whole.
The interesting part of this match is not so much the ending, is what's happened after that. And I think, Jeremy, what did happen, my good sir?
So, during the match, there was a pivotal moment when, on the outside, both Mercedes and Willow were there, and Statlander, who was, again, with her and Stokely at ringside with Willow, was trying to will Willow on, if you will. Kind of like, come on, you can do this, get up, you keep fighting. And just out of the blue, Mercedes just shoved Statlander to the ground, which, understandably, Stat is kind of like, the heck? What are you doing? Then jumps up on the apron, and at this point, has the ref distracted. Stokely then gets up, of which, also, I must make a note of this, because Stokely had a couple of good one-liners in here, including, quote-unquote, saying to Willow at one point, "You got this! Fuck her up!" listening on headphones, I can hear this. So Stokely now also gets on the apron and is arguing with the ref. During this time, Willow grabs Mercedes, hits a Dr. Bomb, has got the pin, and Statlander realizes this and jumps down, but Stokely's still going. And then there's a moment where you can see Statlander's like, get the hell down! Then eventually, the ref goes over, 1, 2, kick out. And they cut over to Statlander and Stokely, and there's that look of, what did we just do? Kind of biting their knuckles and whatnot, like, what did we just do? Oh my God. The match concludes, Mercedes wins, Mercedes is walking away. We then get a moment in the ring where Stat is consoling Willow, because Willow is obviously upset, they're really close friends, and then they're both standing up, Willow's getting a bit of appreciation. Stokely then comes in the ring and starts just berating Willow. Starts kind of going, the hell were you doing? This was your chance. Why the hell didn't you do that? Statlander then shoves Stokely. And you can see that Stokely's just like, I've got to just shut up. What the hell am I doing? Like, this isn't the time. And Stat and Willow start walking up the ramp. And then out of nowhere, Stat then just tanks Willow onto the floor, as it were. And then follows it up with another move as well. Takes off the friendship bracelet that she had. And throws it in Willow's face. The cretin.
How dare.
Oh, man.
And then Stokely walks up, and then we see a close-up of Stokely, who has got one of the most maniacal-looking faces on the planet.
That smile.
And then Statlander does, like, a bicep pose, kind of holding up the arm. And then Stokely then just kind of puts his face on like this. Just
He kissed it as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
this is going to be great. We've never seen Statlander as a heel before in AEW, and I'm looking forward to this. It kind of got teleprompted to us by the fact that she was starting to wear more sort of like suggestive, darker clothes, and it was like very, very un-Statlandy stuff. They've been teasing either Willow or Stat turning heel and joining Stokely for some time, but they kind of like tried to do a smoke and mirrors by slowly having Stokely be a bit more babyface. But I could see where this was eventually going to go. But also, check out Swearing Me James right here with the F-bomb.
Hey, I was quoting, quote unquote.
I swear, swearing me. Anyway, yeah. One note. Stokely go back and do badly Stoke. Well, see me up from. Or maybe he could go joint Beretta and it could be Stoke on Trent. Anyway.
So to go back to the point you were saying as well about the potential tease a while ago, don't forget there was also the conversation after Trent had turned on Orange where Stat approached Trent and whispered something in Stat's ear. Yes. So that may have also been the catalyst for this turn as well, a long time ago now.
Also, we got the person smack in the middle of all the best friends shenanigans in Rocky Romero, because as well as Renee Paquette, he also did show up with his best friend's gear to try and talk to Trent and got shoved aside. So it's interesting what's going on here, because as much as I'm thinking about it, maybe we are going to get a reformation of the best friends as an evil bunch of buggers. That's what I'm thinking now, because you're getting like the stuff with Blood Orange. We're going to call him that now. Stat's just turned heel. Trent's turned heel. Rocky's like, I don't need nobody, but also I want my friends back. I'm really interested where this is going. I really, really am. But also the idea of of Stokely just being happy that he's finally turned one of these girls evil is like, therefore, the only thing I fear, and I brought this up earlier, is the last time we had Stat and Willow have a match against one another, it was Botch City. But I'm hoping that this slight shifting in personalities will make it a much better match down the line. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed, this match was so good. Even just for a spectacle alone, this match is worth going out of your way to see 100%. And before we move on to the second part of the double main event, any additional thoughts on this match?
We had 3 women's matches on a AEW pay-per-view, Jeremy. I'm astounded. I'm so happy that we got that. That's my
have
final
heard.
thought on that one. Give women a chance, Tony. They will absolutely astound you. Anyway, that's my final thought.
Harriet?
Yeah, it was good. Right person won.
Cool. All I will say is a couple of suggestions for the heel best friends names. We've got the Best Fiends. Not bad, eh? Not bad.
No,
also,
not bad.
Beast Fiends.
Beast Fiends. I mean, you've got breast friends right there with Toni and Mariah, so...
I can't follow that, so I will move on. So the next match is part of the double main event. It was for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It was Swerve Strickland defending against the leader of the patriarchy, Christian Cage. So in the build up to this match, the one sort of obvious thing about this match was very much Swerve's winning.
Yeah.
Like that was just kind of it, really, as it were. Like he's winning. And that kind of played into a potential, how's the crowd going to react to this? Because the build up has actually been really good. It's just with the best one in the world, no one thought Christian could take the title from him. But this match was really freaking good. We got lots of instances of outside interference behind the ref's back, but ultimately a giant comeuppance of people being sent out. It was really, really good stuff. And not just to sort of gloss over it, but sometimes the way I sort of forget things is I never doubt AEW now, because I've said that before.
No.
Like when there was the MJF Danielson Iron Man match, I've said this on the podcast before, I went into it thinking I've got to watch a 60-minute match, as opposed to thinking I'm going to watch this match and see how it unfolds. That's the mentality I went with this. I really enjoyed it. It was such good fun. Swerve coming out with like an entrance and ring gear inspired by the film The Warriors. Such a chef's kiss touch. So good.
So good.
And this match was just really good fun. Literally. Just really, really good fun. So much about it. And as far as like solid first title defenses go, more than solid. This was great fun and I really, really enjoyed it. And the finishing sequence as well, when everyone suddenly realized, oh crap, Swerve's going to win. He's got it. And it's just that moment when he's going to do the double foot stomp. Then he does the house call and just obliterates Christian's face. Chef's kiss. That's my new thing. So good. Harriet, I'll start with you. What did you think of this match?
It was good. I mean, Christian Cage, everyone's favorite dad. I mean, I'm learning. I mean, I know of his shtick and yes. I mean,
he's in charge of the patriarchy, says Phil Floney.
Where do I go with that? Yeah, I had a feeling Swerve was going to win this because he's only just won it as well. But then again, you could have said the same for Willow. But I thought it was brutal, this match as well. There was a lot of toing and froing at the beginning. I think it was like the last half where it really kicked off, because it was kind of very countering between the two of them at the first half, and then the second half it just really kicked into gear. I think it was pretty much when everyone was being kicked out, because Prince Nana was kind of tricked into being kicked out, and then everyone else, as they kind of gathered at the ring, realizing, we're in trouble, sort of thing. They all got kicked out.
Shout out to Taz when he was talking about Mother Wayne and just described her as Rhinestone Jones because of the outfit she was wearing.
I missed that, but I did hear her say, "This is BS" as she left the arena, sort of thing.
I think Taz said she looks like Engelbert Humperdinck, Rhinestone Jones. To which Excalibur just went, "What?" Completely lost it.
Harriet, one of the benefits of you having a month's worth of Fight Plus for AEW is you get to find you get to have the non-picture-in-picture bits, so you get to see the whole unfettered Excalibur, Toni, and Taz, and they're always right because they know they're not being shown on general television, and they just cut loose. It's like they don't care. They will just vamp for time by just totally insulting one another. It's so
they start beefing with each other. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really good. I mean, obviously, I see it through Botchmania and stuff like that. But I know how the two of them work well together. But Yeah, the match was good. The ending was very well done, especially I was like, oh, the announce table's back. Yay. And it wasn't the normal, it was like how we joke about it on the other in regards to WWE. It wasn't the main announce table, it was the guest announce table, and I was just like, oh, how quick before this is gonna smash. But it's like, no, it didn't. So I was a bit disappointed, but
can I add a quick little tidbit to that?
yeah.
So on Dynamite on Wednesday, the main event was Bryan Danielson against Satnam Singh. And there's a moment in the match where Sanjay Dutt, who is at ringside with Satnam, is going to clear the table so that Bryan Danielson can be put through it. He takes off the top lid, the entire table falls down.
Oh.
And then on the show, on this Double or Nothing pay-per-view, they start clearing the top of the table, and one of the commentators just went, yeah, we've got the strongest tables in the biz here. Just a direct reference to what happened. And then the table didn't break when Swerve did the stomp on Christian. Just so good.
It was
solid as a rock.
done. Hey.
Oh, sorry, I digress. Please continue.
Hey. It was it was very good. I enjoyed the match. I didn't know much of the storyline because I know Swerve was a heel before and now he's face. So but I did love the thing with the ring steps as well before Swerve got hit by, or he hit by the steel steps, where Cage was just like pouncing on the ring, and then Swerve pounced on the ring and kind of gave him that look. It's like, you're really gonna try that, are you? And then chaos descends when Nick comes back, does like a DDT off the steel steps with Swerve, and then Prince Nana comes back with a pipe because why not, and just chases him out of the ring. And
quote unquote, according to Taz, as he's jumping over the barricade, his britches are falling down.
Oh my god, I didn't even hear that.
It's the little things I notice. It's the little things.
Oh dear, but no, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was great.
Matty, any other thoughts from you on this?
Well, I mean, I liked the match. I'm sorry to be the Deborah Downer here, but I reckon that an AEW World Championship should not be like the heater match between a really good like women's match and Anarchy in the arena. I think it should be the main event, but it's a match that very much knew what it was and gave the two matches that sandwiched it a chance to breathe. And despite being placed the way it was placed, Christian and Swerve did a banger of a match with some really good parts that you guys have already highlighted. It wasn't necessarily entirely for me. It was the point there where I was looking on my phone a lot because I was dealing with basically us organizing this at this point. But I appreciated the match for what it was, and because we also knew that there was no way Swerve was going to lose that title here. I just respected it for just being filler, and I just waited for Anarchy on the arena. But for what they did, it was a great match. Loved it. Apart from the fact that obviously I didn't love it, but I liked it. I appreciated it.
Well, you said that there was Anarchy, and that is what we had next. As Justin Roberts eloquently said when he introduced the match, quote unquote, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the shit show. This is Anarchy in the arena.
Oh my god.
So it's going to be so difficult to try and recap this match. So I think the best way to cover this is just the entire spectacle of the match, as well as sort of just select moments that stick out to us. But above all else, the key things you should know are music was a heavy, big part in this match, and it was all fantastic.
Well, for the first half.
This match was utterly brutal in places, and the ending itself was its own spectacle that ultimately saw the Elite, specifically Jack Perry, pinning Bryan Danielson. That is the big thing above all else.
Did we really watch a snuff movie? Literal murders were trying to happen at one point between Darby and Jack? Literal murders.
It's Anarchy. It's anarchy. Anarchy. Anarchy.
With fire. Sean would be happy there was fire.
There was
Fire, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jack Perry was on fire, Jeremy. What were we watching?
I mean, look, there were other things that happened off camera as well. I don't know if you're aware, but this was one of them. Roly-poly Tony. There is a clip doing the rounds of when Tony Khan was on the entrance ramp and he was let go by Jack Perry, and he somehow rolls down the entrance ramp and then scampers backstage.
Oh, that was at the point where Darby Allin set him on fire, wasn't it? Because he was smothered in petrol. They carried out what Eddie wanted to do, everybody. We got there. Yay. Someone got smothered in petrol, then set alight.
Yay.
Murder, everybody. Murder.
Oh my god.
So let's talk about the music thing first of all, because the way that this happens is the Elite come out, and then as I think it was Jack Perry's music has started, Team AEW jump the Elite, except without Darby, at which point Darby's music hits and it just keeps playing. And it's like we're in an ECW match from the 90s with New Jack's match playing, except it's Darby Allin's music.
Yeah.
And this just carries on. And then eventually, I think it was Matthew Jackson gets on the mic and just starts going, cut the crappy music. We need some good music. Play our new music instead. And suddenly we get this orchestral piano stuff happening. Just insane stuff. Then Bryan Danielson gets on the microphone and says something to the effect of, turn this shit off and play the greatest entrance music in the history of wrestling. And then eventually you hear the music start proper and you hear da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, and the crowd goes mental.
Everyone went mental.
Yes.
This is carrying on for like 5 minutes or something. It just keeps playing.
Yeah,
it was on a loop. And we're getting battles across the arena, backstage. We're getting balcony dives. There's so much going on. They literally have to make a 4-screen split screen for you to eventually be able to catch up. Then eventually Matt Jackson gets back on the mic again and demands that the music be cut. He says, it's costing us $200,000 every time we play it. Think of the budget, for God's sake.
Like, we're on the budget.
So during this week, we had a very serious conversation amongst us all about over-sensory and stuff like that. It was a really heartfelt conversation. Holy shit, throw that out the bloody window because of the amount of screens that were on display during this match. I didn't know where to look, Jeremy. I was so confused. The cameramen were confused. Some of them were just doing 2 angles of the same fight.
Dax Howard somehow got busted open. We still don't know how.
We don't know how. Oh my god!
I don't know where to start. I don't know if I can even rate this. It was anarchy. It was a literal anarchy. I will attempt to say a few select bits, and then you can react accordingly if it sparks another memory. I'm reacting now.
So we got a random moment when eventually the action kind of ended up back at ringside. Okada somehow had like a street sign that said Rainmaker Drive, shouted it, and then just dived at the barrier onto Bryan Danielson, which I love. I want that sign. Get me one, please. Darby Allin and Jack Perry were backstage, at which point there was like an ice bath and Jack Perry nearly got drowned in it. You know, that was fun. This continued to like a parking garage area. There was like a pipe being smashed in places. A truck hit a bunch of rubbish, and we thought Darby had been hit by another bus, which even the commentators joked about.
And Perry knocked himself unconscious driving
because of the murder.
So apparently, and this wasn't from Tom. I saw this put online by someone, but apparently, in the arena, right. Well, no, in the arena. In the arena, because of everything that was going on, the big screen could only show one thing at a time, and people didn't know that Darby and Jack had gone backstage. So the only shot they became aware of where something happened was they just saw Jack Perry unconscious at a steering wheel and thought he'd perished. Apparently, I don't know how true that is. But when I speak to Tom,
I-
hopefully I'll get a chance to ask
I
him.
believe we did actually see Darby in the rubbish before it got struck by the bus. That's why everyone was speculating about Darby
Yeah.
being in there at the time. And he hit that trash with such a blom.
Mhm.
He really did. But also, inexplicably, Jack then went backstage and he was smothered in petrol. And that's where
Yes,
he
because you
grabbed
see-
hold of Tony Khan.
Indeed, he
The
grabbed hold of
evil
Tony Khan,
smirk, yeah.
his best friend Tony Khan and whatnot, the owner
Yeah.
of the company. And
Yeah.
so he goes onto the entrance ramp, but what he didn't know was that Darby Allin, excuse me, my voice croaked. Darby Allin, with his flamethrower's license in hand and a literal flamethrower, was standing by on the entrance ramp and proceeded to then shoot fire at his legs. And Jack Perry was literally on fire.
Finish him! Murder,
Oh.
Jeremy! Murder.
And you've never seen so many fire extinguishers happen so quickly. Which I will say,
Yes.
as dangerous as this was, they clearly had taken precautions for it. As insane
Yeah.
and stupid as it still is, that's not me defending it. There were at least clearly precautions in place.
It's it was kind of obvious he was covered in some kind of like fire protecting stuff.
Yeah.
We kind of saw this before with the match between Andrade and Cody Rhodes when Cody was covered in this gel type stuff throughout the whole match. It was like, oh, that's because they're going to set him on fire, or at the very least, they were going to put him through a flaming table, and that was the stuff they smeared on him to protect him from the flames, which didn't quite work because the stuff that protected him from the flames then caught fire. But yeah, it was like, I can't even remember at what point Jack Perry got smothered in petrol, because he wasn't covered in petrol when he was actually in the bus or the truck.
It was
something we
when he
never
got Tony
saw.
Khan and he took a while to appear on the stage.
He just turned up. He just turned up saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm covered in lubricant." Cause reasons.
Hey, someone's got.
But then
what
murder.
hap-
I'm not letting this go. People try to commit murder.
what happens in Vegas?
Yeah.
So we also
Yes.
got people being thrown into giant poker chips. We had Nick Jackson doing a
Oh,
giant
gosh.
senton atomico off the top of the entrance ramp onto a table that Cash Wheeler was on. People being just thrown off stages and stuff. But just when you thought that maybe things couldn't get any more harrowing.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We end up in the ring. One, we get an exploding chair, which I was not expecting. An exploding chair shot. Then we also get a pair of the Young Bucks' brand new trainers with thumbtacks attached to the bottom, drawing pins if you're in the UK. And at this point as well, it's decided that we need to lower something from the ceiling. And of course, everyone immediately thinks, oh, they're going to lower the steel cage. That makes
I
sense.
thought that. Yeah.
What a logical idea. And then a single rope just dangles down from the ceiling. And everyone's like, huh?
Do you know what I first thought? I knew Darby was going to get strapped to it for sure, but I thought they were going to do like a reverse sting and just literally lift him,
Send him
right
up.
to the top of the rafters. I probably don't do that considering the fact Martha Hart was in the audience, but
Exactly right.
yeah.
So what they did was, and very expertly done, it must be said. They lashed his feet together, basically. They did a really good knot. Like you said to me off air, Matty, but Okada was intently making sure that rope was tied on correctly, which, good. Thank you.
Okada is an accomplished fisherman, so he must know about nets and all that stuff. Because when he used to post a lot on Instagram back in the heyday days of Chaos and that, because he used to invite a lot of the Chaos members to go fish with him, he would post just lots of like pictures of him catching fish, because that's his love outside of wrestling. He likes fishing. And I was like, the look of concentration on his face when he was doing all the ties. He was really committed to make sure, let's not F this up. Like,
He was in his
like,
element.
Total consideration he was putting in there. You could see a big old serious look on his face as he was doing this.
And then eventually, because a big story of this match as well, for why lots of things that may seem obvious wasn't happening, is that a big part of the storyline is that the Young Bucks, the EVPs, have so much power and control over the general production staff of AEW, no one wants to cross them. So they then command the rope to be winched up, and then Darby Allin's just hanging upside down, just kind of like that, by his feet. This then prompts the Okada to present each young buck with a respective trainer of theirs with the thumbtacks on the bottom. They pump them up, and they super kick Darby in the face.
The best part of that. Sorry, the best part of that was when Okada, who's beaming and he's got this glint in his eye and he's got holding his out after carefully taking them out of the box with the paper and everything, hands them up to the Young Bucks and goes, "Use these!" Big smiley face. Use these! Go on, carry on.
So this happens to Darby, and you just hear this, what can be best described as a sound. And you just see Darby just clutch his face, and I'm thinking, you've been hit. What was worse, the bus or this?
I was going to say, any other person, this would be absolutely catastrophic. It's Darby Allin who literally just got hit in the face with a bus. In real life, not in a wrestling angle. In real life,
yeah.
Or as Taz said on commentary, on an off day.
He's had a few of those of late, I tell you.
Right? But the other part about this, which you could tell people were genuinely, and Taz were getting really worried.
Yeah.
He just hung there for like 5 minutes. He was just hung there. People were like, let him down. He's bleeding. It's just, it's ridiculous. And then in the end, FTR are just taken out. They're trying to get in to help. They can't. The one guy who can get in is Bryan Danielson. He's trying to valiantly fight the Elite, but it's just too much for him. And ultimately, he gets hit. Excuse me. Ultimately, when the crowd start chanting, "Please help Darby," because they're like thinking, "Please help him, for God's sake."
Yeah.
And then Bryan Danielson reaches up. I think he's able to grab a hand of Darby's or something. And then he just gets hit in the face by Jack Perry with his own move, the Busaiku knee, and gets pinned. And Anarchy in the arena comes to a close. Of which, another random note before I move on quickly and we sort of get into other thoughts. I will say, I don't think anyone gave Okada the memo that he was going to be battling around the arena, because he just turned up in his regular wrestling gear.
Yeah, but it's Okada.
Yeah, Okada, I know, but still. But so ultimately, that was Anarchy in the arena. There is so much more that we have not touched on that occurred. This was absolutely insane. It's really difficult to articulate how much of a spectacle this was. I will say, I do feel, if you want me to be a nitpick for once, I think there was a point when something felt like it just nothing was happening for a couple of minutes. I'm not sure what happened. There was a lull for a while. I feel it maybe could have been a little bit shorter, but that aside, this was insane and capped off what was a fantastic pay-per-view. So, so Harriett, given we've heard lots of Matty's shocked reactions, how about you? What did you think of this insane spectacle that was Anarchy in the arena?
I loved it.
Amazing.
I mean, the whole thing with the music. I mean, this was like the highlight of the whole pay-per-view for me. It was just like, I have a video of me and I sent it to Matty and I'm just like, I'm rocking along to Europe. I was just so happy. I did love the fact the audience wants the music cut out. It's like, we want music. That was a great part though.
Wasn't it Taz that then said, sorry, I was going to say, Taz then said, people are so entitled. Sorry, carry on, Harriet. Sorry.
There was a great bit where Darby did a flip onto who was at the bottom at the time as the chorus hit. So it was like, it's the final countdown. Splat. It was just so good. I will notice this because I know the Young Bucks. These are new shoes. I didn't realize, and then suddenly it clicked. Their attire matched what the shoes were.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I was like, that makes sense. Yeah, all I kept thinking throughout is Darby Allin going to be okay after this? Because oh my god,
Darby Allin wasn't okay going into the match. He shouldn't have been wrestling.
No, That's what I mean. I mean, he'd had a power bomb through some chairs thanks to the Young Bucks during the match as well. Then, I mean, the one thing we didn't know, his mask. He had a mask on and it was thumbtacks on it.
Yeah, because he's got a broken nose from being hit by a bus.
It's protected,
He was wearing a mask to like protect his nose.
Protect.
But also don't forget, he also was wrestling with a broken foot, which at one point Okada stamped on as well. But I thought, you dastardly.
Yeah.
I will say, actually, I really want to see a singles match between Darby and Okada.
Yes.
The little bit of like the little elbow exchange we got there, I was like, I really want to see how a full match goes between you two. We ain't going to see it for months, but I really want to see it.
What I liked about the match as well is when they kicked off, it was like all the old feuds. So young ones? Yeah, that's a different thing altogether. Young Bucks versus the FTR. It was Okada and Danielson, and it was the two pillars, Darby and Jack. And then it slowly shifted into other rivalries. I'm going to let you finish this, Harriet, because all I can add is, well, I'm going to add at the end of this, but basically, I want to see Jack Perry versus Danielson so bad now. Anyway, Harriet, back to you. I'm shutting up.
I literally finished this out of all the pages of notes I wrote. I just put here, insane, chaotic, and manic. I truly love this match.
Amazing.
It was an assault on the sensories. Jeremy, I can sum my entire thought of this whole match with one word, and that word, Jeremy, I don't know if I've said this in this review at all, but my overriding one word review for this match is murder.
We wouldn't have known. You haven't really said much about it, but yeah.
Back to you.
So, folks, that was Double or Nothing. So the recurring theme about AEW pay-per-views is you freaking get your money's worth. This show was, in my opinion, excellent. There was fantastic wrestling throughout. The little things we've picked out, we've picked apart, but overall, this show was fantastic. Going on in terms of what could be next and such, the next pay-per-view is Forbidden Door, which happens at the end of June, if memory serves. And the thing we know about Dynamite this week, which is happening in LA, I believe, there's going to be a gauntlet match to determine who will challenge for the AEW Championship. So we'll know who Swerve's opponent is going to be at Forbidden Door very, very soon. One assumes we'll start getting some other Forbidden Door-based builds, but one also assumes in the coming weeks we will know the direction of the Owen Hart Tournament, because that's going to conclude in July in Calgary, and there'll be like about a month and a half, or if I've got my dates correct, leading up to Wembley. So we already know a lot of the seeds that have been planted. MJF's back. What direction is he going to go in, as it were? Lots of potential things to happen here. But either way, man, I'm in such a good mood. This was such a good show. I had a great laugh.
And you know what, Jeremy? Just bring it back around here. It's been lovely having you back here. We missed you.
Oh,
we really, really missed you, mate.
Hopefully it won't be too long before I'm back again. We shall see. But before we start to conclude, let's just get a little bit of plugs out of the way. As mentioned, if you joined us late, we have been Bunkamania Wrestling. You can find us at Bunkamania UK on Twitch and YouTube. So make sure you check out those if you feel so inclined. And you can find all the podcasts that we do in audio form as well, including some audio exclusive ones. If you like your movie chat, why not go and check those out? Bunkamania Goes to the Movies. But we each teeth in, nearly got there. But we each also do our own individual bits and bobs online. So Matty, starting with you, if people want to find out what you're doing on your own time, so to speak, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me mostly on Instagram. Not so mumuch Threads, but you can find me there as well under Matty Boo Super. I also tweet under Matty Boo Tweets. Also that, but it's Twitter. That's there. But also you can mostly find me basically still in shock over murder, basically, Jeremy. Murder was happening before my very eyes.
There's a recurring theme here.
Eyes. and also, I really want to see Randy Richter in AEW for reasons. For reasons.
Oh, indeed. And Harriet, how about you? How can people find you if they want to find more of what you're doing online?
Oh, Matty.
Oh, Harriett. Sweet,
You
innocent Harriett.
You can find me on Twitter at MangaGirl232. I share a lot of what I do from week to week on there. So at this moment, the new video of me reacting to Monday Night War should be going live, but I need to check it before it does. So probably be in an hour's time. But I'm doing that weekly. Also, I stream at least once a week on Twitch. You can find me on Twitter, you can find me at MangaGirl232. On Twitch, Harriet_MangaGirl. I'm currently streaming Hi-Fi Rush. I should be back playing that tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And on YouTube.com/MangaGirl232, you'll see my reactions on there. So it's pretty much Wrestle Talk reactions for the time being, until NSP decide to release a new video, but it's going good. Really enjoying it. This week was very good. So yeah, you can find me reacting on there.
Good. And if you want to find me, the best way to do that is to use my link tree, which is linktree/Giraffemy, JERAFFEMY. Imagine Jeremy plus a giraffe. It's a Giraffemy. There is logic there, folks. I tend to stream every Friday night on Twitch with Felfloney. We're currently delving into a bit of a Pokemon side of things, but this week, maybe some other stuff as well. Perhaps maybe some crazy taxi malark might be happening. Who knows? We will see. So you can find links to various things I'm involved there, YouTube bits, Twitch bits, podcasty bits. That is the place to go. And as mentioned, if you enjoyed what you have seen here on Bunkamania, why not hit that subscribe button on your platform of choice, or just hit the like, whatever your platform's equivalent is. We would really appreciate it. And of course, be sure to get in touch and let us know in the comments what you have thought, or have we missed anything crucial or obvious, or any random commentary lines that were really funny, but somehow we missed. Entirely possible. But with that being said, we have been Bunkamania Wrestling. We will be back again very, very soon. From myself, Jeremy, from Matty, from Harriet, thank you for watching and or listening. Until next time, place your bets. Double or Nothing is in the books. See ya!